Hey everyone, how's it going? AZREN here. Hope you guys are doing well. In this video, I just wanted to share some of my experiences about languages and careers. Myself, I majored in French and Spanish when I was in university, and one of the common questions that I often received was, AZREN, what kind of career are you going to get studying languages? Like, what are your options? Like, what are you going to do? And the challenge for me is that number one, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And number two, a lot of the very clear-cut pathways that languages will lead to were not things that I was interested in doing. So for example, I didn't want to be a language teacher in a school. I didn't want to be an interpreter. I didn't want to be a translator. I didn't want to be a university professor. I didn't want to go and, do something in linguistics and be some sort of a linguist and do studies in linguistics. I didn't want to do that. And so when people would talk to me when I was in university about, what are you going to do? I would often feel like, I was okay because my self-confidence was quite high, but there'd definitely be a little bit of unease and awkwardness of going like, you know what, I'm studying languages just because. Spending all this money and paying for classes and spending all this time, all that stuff, blah, 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 and I don't really know what I'm going to do afterwards. And you feel kind of silly saying that. Now, granted, my mom was paying for my university, which is good. I just paid for school books, really. But still, it's a lot of money and a lot of time being invested into something, and you don't even know what's going to come out of it at the end. And so I'd feel some kind of silly talking to people. And, now that I graduated 3 years ago, I have a little bit more perspective on how I used to feel, so here I go. I think, now that I'm done university, a big thing for me that I've noticed is that it really has helped me to have languages, and I'm able to combine it with a different skill. So in my case, I have a skill set in business and a skill set in languages. And so I'm able to combine the two to create something for myself in the field of languages, which I love. So I think for people who don't want to go into the traditional pathways of where a language degree or where studying languages could take you, I think it really helps to know another skill. I think another skill that really helps as well, or another field of experience that helps to have if you have languages, is something in tourism. So if you can have some work experience in tourism and you have your degree and you have your expertise in various languages, I think that's a great combination to have. I really do. It's actually something I even thought about jumping into as you guys probably saw in my vlogs if you've watched for a while. But overall, when it comes to languages, I think the big thing that I've noticed myself is that I'm really happy that I sort of blindly plunged into my language studies. What I mean by that is when people were telling me like, AZREN, why are you studying languages? What's the purpose? Like, what is that going to get you? What are you going to do? I think one of the big things for me was that I'm happy I just sort of kept going without necessarily knowing exactly where the finish line was. It happened to work quite well for me because, for me, I don't know why, but I just kind of felt like if I put a lot of my time and energy into something that I'm passionate about, as long as I'm being practical to make sure that I have some sort of income coming in, eventually that effort is going to open up some kind of door. And so for me, I was, less worried about what's the end result going to be by studying languages. For me, it was more about, hey, let me keep pushing forward with languages. Let me just keep pushing, but trying to do different things to open up different kinds of doors. And so for me, that's actually a big reason why I worked why I ran a window cleaning business with a franchise for 6 years, because it opened different doors and it was bringing an income in while I was still studying all my languages. And thankfully I did the business. Thankfully I did the languages because it's allowed me to create a living for myself now, which is pretty exciting. And so I think for people who are really interested in languages and don't necessarily know what the end game is, where it's all gonna lead when it's all said and done, I think a big thing is just be patient, keep pushing ahead with it if you love it. I think it's a really big one. And I think, from my experience anyway, trying to balance it with a level of practicality also really helps. So be practical, right? You need to make sure that you're opening different doors and you've got some options to be making money and actually creating a career for yourself. Don't just blindly go forward and be like, yeah, somehow the opportunity will open. No, along the way, try and make sure that you're creating doors that could open for you. So go to meetup events, right? Go try out different skills and learn different skills, and you know, that's kind of what's worked for me so far. And obviously, I'm very young. I'm 24 years old. Like I'm like a baby in a lot of ways. It's about a long way to go. That being said, that's kind of what's worked for me so far, and that's been my experience so far. So anyway, hope you guys liked the video, and talk to you guys later. Bye for now.